this is Carrie with Canary Quilts, and this is the last week of building blocks for the Witch's Night Out quilt-along I have going on here. Witch's Night Out is a pattern by It's So Emma, and this has been a really good pattern to follow. I like how it's laid out. The instructions are very clear, and it's made it very easy to put together, even though it looks like it's a little complicated, but it really isn't. It's a lot of fun to do. The last week we have is our mosaic block and our witch's hat. I love my witch's hat. I love how it turned out. As we went along, we did 2 pumpkins a week until we got to this week, and we did the mosaic, just the mosaic this week, which was really good because this is a more intensive block to put together, but it is a beautiful block. I mean, look at these 3 blocks right here. Just beautiful. So what I'm going to show you is how I consolidate some steps here. I like to do that. I like to consolidate steps that are the same but maybe mirror images of each other so that I don't feel like I'm doing things twice, I guess. So that's what I'm going to show you today with the mosaic blocks. But I've got all my blocks lined up here, and we're going to take a 2-week break, and then we're going to put it all together and see what it looks like. So I do have these left over from last year's Moda Midnight Moon quilt-along. And April Rosenthal put out free blocks, I don't know, I think 5 times during that quilt-along. And one of the blocks made it into my quilt last year. These 4 were left over. I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with these blocks yet, but they do match the fabrics that are in my quilt, so we'll see what I've got going on here as we put it in next week. I was thinking maybe cornerstones in the border, but I don't know. I just pulled them out, I found them, and thought, well, maybe I can incorporate them somewhere. So if you want to see how this turns out, or you have this pattern and you want to get started on it, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you can quilt along with us or do all the other fun stuff we got going on here. I have links to the pattern down below if you're interested and you're new and you're just seeing this for the first time. I also have my fabrics linked if you're interested. I'm using leftover fabric from other Halloween quilts I did, so you can do the same thing too. I don't even think you need Halloween quilts. Halloween fabrics. You always need a Halloween quilt. I don't think you even need Halloween fabrics to do this. I think this is just a fun, beautiful quilt to put together with that Halloween theme. So anyway, let's get started. All right, so last week, a lot of you noticed, and I noticed while I was editing the video, so it didn't get changed, was that I put this in wrong. It should be, you know, coming out here. So I need to flip my block. So I'm just going to take this block out and turn it over and then sew it back in. And there we go, I got it fixed. So, just that easy. All right, this week we only have 1 pumpkin type to build, but there's going to be 3 of them. I almost said 2, 3 of them. 3 mosaic block pumpkin blocks. And there's not many pieces in this. We're going to have 2 long pieces, 12 rectangles, 16 squares of each color of the orange here. This is the mosaic part, and there's 4 squares, 12 rectangles, and 1 big square. And this is how I'm matching up my colors, stems and background. So it's really not that hard to cut out. So let's get started putting this together. All right, let's put this together. So I did put one together, and I found out you can consolidate some steps. I understand the way she wrote it, but I think you can consolidate some steps. So I already put the stems together. That's just like every other one we've done. So let's start with the top and bottom of our pumpkins here. And we're going to take our background And we're just going to do stitch and flip corners like this. I'm going to do both colors at the same time. Just like that. So one of these will be the top, one will be the bottom. Pretty easy. Sew on the line, trim 1/4 of an inch from the seam, and iron towards the corner. All right, I got these finished, the top and bottom of the pumpkins. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our E and G, which are these pieces right here. And we're going to draw a diagonal on the back of our E's, and we're going to lay them out on our G's this way. And there's 2 in each of these piles here. So what I'm going to tell you is we're building these corners, all 4 of them. And in the pattern, she has you build these 2 corners, and then she has you build these 2 corners. So I'm just building them all at the same time. Consolidate some steps. So we're going to sew on the line. We're going to trim 1/4 of an inch from the line. But when I come back from trimming, I want to show you how we're going to iron, because it is a little bit different. And it's so that when we put it together, it lays a little flatter. All right, I got them trimmed. So the way we're going to be ironing these, this side here with the diagonal going this way is going to be ironed towards the base. These 2 with the diagonal going this way is going to be ironed towards the corner. So this one over here is going to be like this. And this one over here is going to be like we're used to, where we're ironing towards the corner. They're going to look exactly the same, but when they get put together and laid out, it does make a difference in how the block lays. So that's how we got to get all of these ironed. These are finished, and that's this part of the corner unit right here. So now we're going to build this part. So we need our D, which is our rectangle. It looks like a square, but it's a rectangle in orange, and our H's in our mosaic colors. So we need to split these in half. So we have a pile of 2 and a pile of 2 in each one of these. And we're laying this, I'm laying this so that the long side is up here. So for 2 of these, we want our diagonal to sit like this. And these 2 pieces are not the same size. So you want the diagonal to go from the top left to the bottom right, and you'll have some left over here. And then this one's going to go from the top right to the bottom left corner, and you'll have left over here. And this one is just a stitch and flip, where you sew on the line, trim 1/4 of an inch from the line, and we do have special ironing for this also. So I'll bring this back again and show you how it gets ironed. And again, that's so the block lays flat. There's my parts of my corner. It's this part right here. These are like the other ones, where we're going to iron them a little bit differently. So I'm not expecting you to remember which ones get ironed, but just be mindful that in the pattern they are ironed differently. So the ones that have the diagonal this way are going to get ironed towards the base, like this. And then the ones that are on the diagonal down here are going to get ironed towards the corner. And again, it helps your block lie better when we're done putting it together. So, okay, I'm going to finish that, and then we can put our corners together. All right, I got my 2 pieces over here put together. Oh goodness, future Carrie here. I forgot to show the part where we add the D patch to the piece we just made, but it's pretty simple. You just add it, you sew it together, and you iron. So not a big step, but just let you know I did forget to show it to you. Iron towards the patch, and then I sewed them onto these to get my corner. So you can see we've got corners that are this way and this way. So I laid them out like this. Let's do this. Let's just get it all the same. You can see the seams are next to each other. This one is going to be ironed towards this side with the dark patch. This one's going to be sewn towards the away from the dark patch. So just look in your pattern. It'll tell you how exactly to do that, but in this one also, that's how we're doing it. So basically right now, I'm ironing everything I see in front of me to the left. All right, we are now building these center units, the top and bottom center units, not the sides, the top and bottom. So we need our E, which is the squares of our orange, and our G, which are the rectangles in our mosaic colors. We're going to go from top left to bottom right, and we're going to go from top right to bottom left. So that's how these two are going to get sewn on, and then when we add the bottom ones, we're going to be doing parallel lines with the other ones that we just put on. So these are going to get ironed a little differently too. We're going to put these two on this side, we're going to trim, we're going to iron, and we're going to iron towards the corner. This one we're going to iron towards the base. And then when we come back and put these on, and they're going to go in the same direction down here, so our lines are going in the same direction. Since we iron towards the corner, we're going to iron towards the base. So you're always ironing in the same direction in your sections that you're building here. So this is how we want them to go on. Parallel lines, trim 1/4 of an inch, and then just be mindful of how each section gets ironed. Here's my units put together, and they're all ironed in the same direction. So what I'm going to do is, she has you do this at the end. I'm going to do it right now so we can put it with our corners, and we'll have these sections done. And you can see how they're going to go together, just like that. So I'm going to put them together, just kind of match up your points there, sew them, and these are getting ironed open. It's pretty simple to finish these out. All right, there's my units finished. So we have our corners and our top and bottom centers. Let's just move those up here for now. And now we are doing these, and they look the same as that, but they are not. So what we have here is the remainder of our G's, the remainder of our E's with diagonals, and then the remainder of our D's, which are the rectangles. These are the squares, these are the rectangles. What we have to do here is, you can see on 2 of these, we need to make special marks, or on all 4 of them, but at 2 different ones. So on this one, we need to mark 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom and draw a line from the corner to that mark. So we have that, and then this one is 1/4 of an inch from the top and draw from the mark to the bottom right corner. There we go. Same thing over here. So what we're going to do up here is we're going to put it up against our base here like that, so it overlaps. So your mark is down in the left corner, and you're sewing up to this right corner. So 2 of them will be like that. 2 will be just the opposite. Where your overhang was on the bottom, your overhang's on the top here. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So these are going to be ironed differently also. This one is going to be ironed towards the base. This one's going to be ironed towards the corner. So it's a stitch and flip, but just be mindful of which way you're ironing things. All right, here's the pieces I just did, ironed in the direction that it told me to in the pattern. Now we're going to put our E's on, going parallel again with our first seam that we did. And then we're going to trim, and when we iron, we're going to iron in the same direction that we did this seam on each block. These are my pieces, and like the other ones, they're all ironed in the same direction. So at this point, we're just going to put these 2 together so that they match, sew them, and we're going to iron them open, and then we can lay out our blocks. All right, there they are finished now. So there's a difference between these 2. These are the sides, so let's just do this. I'm going to put these right into position right now so I know where they go. Okay, and then in here goes our patch, right side's up, that's the right side, and corners. You gotta be mindful of which corners go where. So this corner with the strip here, and then down here. So your long strips go on against the center portion there. If that makes any sense. And if it doesn't fit that way, it doesn't go there. Okay. And then like this. I don't know if you can see all that. Yeah. It goes up there, goes up there, and then our stem is right there. All right. So from here on out, it's pretty easy. She actually has you ironing away from the center. She has you ironing this way and then this way. I didn't do it that way. I wanted to iron towards the patch. So I'm ironing towards the patch in the center and the corners up here. So that's how I'm putting it together. It's a 9 patch. And then we're ironing our seams away from the top and bottom. So we're going to iron towards the center and we're going to iron towards the top and bottom here. Pretty easy. I'm just going to put it together from here on out and then we'll take a look at my blocks when I'm done. All right, finished up my chain pieces and turned out really well. They're just a little more involved. Glad that we only had one pumpkin this week. It does take a little bit longer, but I really like how they turned out. I really like how that center really stands out against the orange. All right, now we're on to the witch's hat, which is like all the other icons we've done. It's a puzzle. I think E is the only one that has 2 cuts. Everything else is a singular cut. Oh, and N. N has 2. So here's our background. This is going to be my hat color. This is going to be the buckle. And then over here, the gray is going to be the band around the hat. So that's about it. I'll just start putting these puzzle pieces together, and in the end, we're going to have a gorgeous little witch's hat. Ooh, we're so excited. We are going to be like finished. After this, we'll have all our pieces so we can start assembling our quilt. All right, so we're just going to make basically kind of the top of the hat unit, where this is going to be the part of the hat that curves this way. This is going to be the top of the buckle, and then this is going to be the band in the center of the buckle. So I'm going to do all of these at the same time. We've got to do a diagonal line on our A, put it up here in the corner of F, sew on the line, trim 1/4 inch, iron towards A, which is the background, and then that part will be done. And then M, N, and L just get sewn together. O has 2 pieces. Another O is going to go right here. And we're always, let's see, we're going to iron this way up here and towards the orange pieces, or the pumpkin in my case, down here. So that's pretty easy. I'm going to get that done. All right, here's my pieces. I haven't put them together. We will sew these together. And then that will make this section of our hat. And then we're going to move on and grab our G and D pieces. Now this is a little different. We're going to draw a line down the center of our G, but we're going to sew on that line, trim 1/4 inch from it, and then discard the smaller part. And then we're going to take our B and C's, add them over here and here, and then we'll have finished out the top part of our witch's hat. So, yay! Really quick. There we go. There's the curl of our hat. We're going to add C to this piece right here. We're going to add B over here and then add this section, and the top part of our hat will be done. And then we move to the bottom, which is going to be pretty simple to put together. All right, here's the top half of our witch's hat. It's looking good. It's looking really good. I'm getting excited. All right, so we need to do the brim that's below our buckle here. We need to finish off our buckle and then do the brim. So we need to take our E pieces, and they're going to have marks like this, not from one corner to another corner. You're going to have to mark it and draw from the corner to that mark. So the one that has the mark from the upper right hand corner is going to go with I, like it's going to go actually on the left hand side. And then this one is going to go on the right hand side of H. I and H are different size pieces. So we're going to have that going on, and then we need to sew these two together, and then this section is going to get sandwiched with these. So I'll come back and show you that. So here are these pieces and what they look like. So we're going to sew these onto both sides of this center piece of the buckle. And then we just put the three pieces together, and we're done with the hat. So I'm going to do that and show you what it looks like. So exciting. It is so exciting. A witch's hat. Oh my gosh. I am so happy with the fabrics I picked out for this. I absolutely love it. It looks so good. And here's my pumpkins, which I love. The witch's hat is a nice, easy piece to put together. After doing these, this is a joy. These are kind of intensive. I wouldn't call them hard, just a little more intensive. So there you go. We are done with all our pieces. We're going to take 2 weeks off from this point so you can catch up or get started depending on where you're at. And I need a little break here before I can put it all together. So I will be back in 2 weeks to put this together, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You get notified when I finish this, and you get to do all the other fun stuff we got going on here. And yeah, I'm really excited to see you in a couple weeks or in my next video. I had so much fun doing this. Oh, and don't forget the pattern link is in the description below if you want to do this with us. Yay! Bye!